Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Addison, whatever time you're listening, and thank you for joining us for our ASD Chat for All podcast. We have lots of fun and exciting things on the horizon for Addison School District 4, and this podcast allows us the opportunity to connect with our parents and guardians, families, and community to celebrate our students, their accomplishments, and so much more. Your hosts for this podcast are ASD4 Superintendent Dr. Nick Sutton and myself, Dean Constantopoulos. You interested in hearing more about what's going on in District 4? Come on in and have a chat. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of our ASD Chat for All podcast. My name's Dean Constantopoulos. I'll be one of your hosts this afternoon, and I'm joined with our co-host, Dr. Nick Sutton. Nick, it's kind of a sunny day for being so chilly.
It is, and we're moving along in January. It's going to be February before you know it. February comes and then March, and everybody's in a little extra happy mood. But
That's right.
Dean, you seem happy as always. So what's new in your world?
I had a really nice weekend. I'm really excited about a lot of the fun stuff that's coming up. For example, early March, we've got Science Night, our ACPTA Science
that's coming
Fun
right
Night
up.
Coming up. Lots of different activities and events, so stay tuned. We may actually even get some podcast guests to talk about that.
That's true. The Junior High Innovation Center community event is in a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
Lots of things are happening, and so we got a great guest today that has been a part of the district for a long time to kind of talk about things current, things past, and things in the future.
Exactly.
Dean, who's hanging out with us today?
So today we have Mr. Dave Williams, who is the president of the Board of Education. Dave, welcome, and how you doing?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
Awesome, perfect. So let's just go ahead and just jump right in. So we obviously know who you are, but in case anybody listening is unfamiliar, so tell us, so who are you, and then how long have you been with the ASD4 Board of Education?
I have been on the Board of Education for about 24 years now.
Oh, wow.
But my involvement in District 4 and activities going on within the community started probably in the early 80s. Absolutely.
Wow.
Perfect.
That's impressive.
That's awesome. So you've definitely seen this district kind of change and evolve over the years into something that to kind of just keep up to pace with educational standards and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, absolutely. I was involved in a lot of big changes that took place during the 80s here in District 4.
very cool. So we're definitely going to jump into that.
So that's interesting. So it's like, you touched upon the time and the legacy. So way back when, like, what made you want to be a part of a school board?
I actually getting involved in District 4, I was asked by the current superintendent, Dr. Weck, if I'd consider getting on District 4 board. And I came and sat in the audience for almost a year watching how the board functioned and saw that it was run efficiently and professionally. And then I got appointed to the board, and I've been on there for 24 years since.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So let me ask you then, just because I'm unfamiliar, but did you start with the presidency, or did you start in a different position and then work your way
No,
into
I've
it?
been the president for 17 years. Prior to me, Gene Campbell was the president.
Oh, gotcha.
And then when he wasn't reelected, I took over as president and been the president since.
Very cool. So kind of going along and piggybacking off of this idea of when you became the president. So I know that all of us in the school district and including the Board of Education, we've all got the same goal, right? We're trying to better our environment and better this community for our kids, right? So what are some of the implementations or changes or some of the decisions that you've made in your time as president? What are some things that you're proud of that you've been a part of or helped accomplish with your time as president?
I would say my biggest accomplishment or the push that I had was the fact that we did not have all-day kindergarten when I got on the board.
Yeah.
And the push amongst myself and a couple of other board members was to implement all-day kindergarten, which we were able to accomplish within our budget guidelines. And then overall, piggybacking on that is the emphasis on early childhood development. The fact I felt that we had to have more resources going to the to the younger kids. And we were able to implement that by building our early childhood center and then ultimately expanding it. And then with the kindergarten, originally we only had space in 2 of the schools to have kindergarten, and the rest of the kindergartens were in Ardmore School when we reopened Ardmore School.
Oh, wow.
And then we did redistricting, so every school has their own kindergarten. So my accomplishments, that's it in the early childhood area.
That's awesome.
That's cool. So it's like when you start reflecting on these accomplishments and the one you talked about, like if there's a community member out there who goes, what exactly does a school board member do? How do you explain that? So if somebody comes up to you and goes, I get that you're a part of this. I get that you guys meet monthly. I get that you work closely with the administration. What would you say is a board member's role?
It's hard to explain to the public. We're implementing policy, and we hire and fire superintendents, and we hold them accountable to follow the board's policy and directives.
Perfect. So let me ask you then on top of that. So we talked a little bit about things that we've done in the past that has kind of helped us bring up to standard and such. But what about looking forward into the future? What are some things that you're excited about that you've got on the docket, or things that you really want to see some changes in moving forward?
I don't know if you'd say I want changes. Number one, I'm really proud of the fact that we have the dual language programs going on, and I think there's going to be more and more of an emphasis on that. Also, technology-wise, there is an area of the student population that I don't think is being served the way it should be, and that's the high-achieving students. And it's because of resources and everything else. And honestly, I think there's a way to possibly implement technology into giving them other opportunities within the district.
Very cool. Very cool. So to kind of almost like summarize it, if you had to pick, what is the one part of being a board member that you enjoy being the most? What? Because you are a part of so many committees, you're a part of so many meetings. What is that one type of thing that you're like, you know what, I get the most enjoyment out of this?
I've been unbelievably fortunate to work with school board members that have been very professional, that can have disagreements and still work together. And it just makes me feel good when I meet with these people and see those types of people come forward and like I say, have disagreements and still walk away as friends.
Yeah. That's really well said. Yeah. Well said.
It's so interesting because to go off of that idea, we're all trying to work towards the same goal, right? So it really is just great. And I've noticed this, you're not the only person that I've noticed that has mentioned this, that this community in and of itself is one where I feel like we really kind of foster that communication really well, and we're able to kind of have these conversations without just jumping down each other's throats or something like that. So that's just really, it makes me feel good looking towards the future, and I'm sure it makes everybody listening feel that way as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that throughout the community, Dean. What really showcases that is our intergovernmental cooperation that happens throughout the village.
Well, and that's such a good point. We often have a lot of intergovernmental meetings and just lots of opportunities for all of us to
get together. And I swear I've mentioned this in previous episodes. As a guy who's been in other districts and other communities, that's not necessarily the norm. Yeah. That is something that the Addison municipalities and community, they do a good job collaborating.
Absolutely. So, I'm sure if anybody has questions or listening to this, they're like, all right, well, I feel like I learned a lot, but maybe they have some more questions. Maybe they wanted to ask you about some future policies or exactly about some of the policies that we're working on right now. What is the best way that a community member or somebody who's interested could address the board?
Well, if they want to contact me personally, they can email me at dwilliams@asd4.org. I'd be happy. I'll respond immediately. And if it's something that I need some help figuring out, I will contact Dr. Sutton, and maybe he'll respond instead.
Perfect. And going off that same vein, Dr. Sutton, if you, let's just say they wanted to contact you,
Sure.
what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, no, like Mr. Williams, I'm here to serve, and it's fun to be able to interact with community members to do so. So in Sutton at ASD4.org is an easy place, but I, much like you, Dean, like Twitter, so you can always find me hanging out there at Dr. Nick Sutton. Dean, same question to you.
Twitter is going to be the best one for me, at AddisonSD4. Please feel free to send any questions or concerns my way. But, Mr. Williams, thank you so much for joining us. It's really been enlightening, I know for me personally, and I'm sure for everybody listening as well. So thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Well, we did as well. And for everyone listening, stay tuned for next time. Thank you for tuning in to our ASD Chat for All podcast. Check us out at www.asd4.org, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts for more. We'll be back soon with another episode, so stay tuned.